Hi, my name is Pascal. Today we are going to talk about 7 things that many people get wrong when they are building a home gym. If you want to know more about this, please follow the links in the description box below, and let's get to the experiences that I made and that I've also seen that others were making when building a home gym. First thing is to change your habits first rather than relying on the equipment. So what do I mean by that? What can quickly happen when you're planning a home gym or when you're starting out to buy some small utensils like dumbbells and kettlebells for your home gym? It will be like, oh, okay, once I have that equipment, I will start using it and I will improve my habits. That is usually not how this works. Usually it is way harder to change the habits rather than buying the equipment, because changing your habits really requires a long-term commitment and shift of your daily routine, whereas buying equipment is basically just a click on Amazon or Rogue Fitness or wherever you may get the equipment that you need. So if you're already centralizing all of your thinking around, oh, once the equipment is there, I'll start using it, maybe move away from that and start a regular fitness routine first before you are buying the equipment. This can save you a lot of money and space in your home, because otherwise you might just have gear lying around that is not going to be used anyway and you have wasted money on. Second point to address is to plan the gym for the main user rather than for everybody in the home. So basically the habit point that I made earlier also applies to everybody else in the house. So is it really likely that everybody in the house, once there is a home gym there, will change their habits? You answer that question for yourself. Most likely the person who already has changed their habits will also use the gym the most. So therefore, plan it around the main user rather than accommodating for everyone, because that will be the most efficient and effective use of space and money, rather than hoping for others to change their habits just because the equipment is there. Once you've changed your habits and made some plans around the gym, also a common mistake is to put the equipment before the actual space that you put in the gym in. So what I mean by that, think floors, walls, electricity and heating first before you actually put the equipment in. That is a mistake that I made myself, and it will save you a lot of money if you think about these things first, because flooring, for example, can get as expensive as the equipment that you're putting in your home gym. So really think about what floor is there, what it can be used for. Will you use gym floor tiles or will you get horse mats? Because if you don't budget for that, it will surprise you in a bad way once you are actually racking up the equipment. Same goes for the walls and any plugs and electricity or heating. Think about these infrastructural things before you actually put the equipment in. Because if you do it the other way around, you will have to work around the infrastructure when the equipment is already in, which is just a pain in the neck. So think about walls, floors, electricity and heating before you are actually buying and putting the equipment in, because overall the place will look nicer and it will also cost less to make it as functional as possible. Once you've changed your habits and also looked into the infrastructure of the place that you are actually putting the gym in, then it is about measuring everything. And I mean really everything with that. So really measure how long, how deep is the room, where are the windows, where are the doors, where are the plugs, how high are the plugs from the ground, and really put some time into measuring all of that stuff, because the more specific you are with these measurements, the better it will be when you go to the home store and get all of the relevant equipment or the relevant material. You will know where things are, and you will also have a better picture in your head about what you want to do with the room. For example, a mistake that I often see and heard about is that people forget to check the ceilings or any obstructing kind of things that are hanging from the ceiling, and then they are putting the rack in, and lo and behold, you know, either in the basement they have to cut off the top, or in the garage there is actually the mechanism for the garage door in the way, or some kind of AC, you know, some air conditioning is there that has to be moved or even can't be moved. So really look at the space and do a detailed summary, measuring everything from top to bottom, diagonally, whatever you may come up with, because it will help you to think about it in more depth, get more ideas, but also save money and time, because you don't have to redo things, rejig things, or place something somewhere where you're then like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that earlier? How could I overlook that an AC is right there where I want to put the rack? Once you have your measurements, it's time to start simulating. So what do I mean by simulating? What I personally used was the Rogue Zeus Gym Builder, where you can build your entire gym completely digitally and move things around. And the nice bonus to that is that most racks and barbells and plates have the same dimensions across all vendors because they're standardized. So if you design something in the Rogue Zeus configurator, you can have a very good guess or estimation of what the layout will be like and the equipment will be like, even with any other vendor. And then start simulating all of the types of configurations you could possibly think of without buying the equipment first. So get a rack, get a fitness bike, get anything you might think of, and jig it around in the room where you've put in the measurements that you've done before from the point that I mentioned before, and play around with it. Everything is allowed, and you might actually come up with some designs that you didn't even think of before. Talk to as many people as you possibly can, showing them the design. Maybe they'll point out something that the rack might block the door or the window. Those are more obvious things, but also how to place things a bit neater and nicer so that you have a better flow for your workouts. Because all of these simulations will also help you to visualize the end goal, and also to eliminate any options that first look good when looking at the room, but when you're actually putting it on paper and placing things everywhere, it just doesn't work. How did I do that? I had a very limited room when I first started out before this garage, and I pigeonholed the rack into it. And actually I did it in a way that I had to build the rack inside the room because I couldn't even fit it through the door. But it worked, and it worked because I prepared and simulated the setup often before buying. If I hadn't done that, I might have set up myself for a failure, because the barbell protrudes on both sides at the rack, and I actually factored that in. If I hadn't, and if the room had just been slightly smaller, actually the heating would have been in the way of the barbell path, and the whole setup would have not worked just because of that. And then I would have had to face the decision of either moving the heater for a lot of money, or just leaving the equipment for about $2,000 and come up with a different plan where to place it. So use the Rogue Zeus simulator and build as many gym configurations as you possibly can before actually hitting the buy button. You'll learn a lot, and you will also be more confident once you have the final item list. Another credo to live by when you're building a home gym is to buy once to save shipping. So rather than having different iterations of a gym and different generations of the gym, hold off a little, think a little more, and then also get everything on one delivery. Because how this usually works is the more you buy with any vendor, the more likely it becomes that you get free shipping, and any shipping that you will have to pay for a setup that you just got in chunks when you wanted it at the start anyway. It's just sunk cost. And everything will be delivered to you on a pallet, especially with a big delivery, including plates, a rack, barbell, and all of the essential in the first buy. So hold off a bit longer and save yourself some money. How does this apply to me? Well, I actually held off on a purchase for an adjustable bench, which does rack up quite considerable shipping cost, because that thing is big and usually comes pre-assembled, so it will be freight rather than just post or parcel. And I had to pay extra because I got the adjustable bench at a later stage. Now, if I had held off maybe 2 months on my purchase and then just had said, look, I'm getting everything in one go, that cost wouldn't have occurred. Now, if you're talking about a commercial gym, this becomes even more important because the orders are usually bigger. So buy once, save shipping, or at least minimize the amount of transactions with your vendor of choice, because you always run the risk of paying extra shipping costs that you won't go back and don't get any product or service in return for. The last mistake that is common is that people are not expecting delays. Generally, we are spoiled with Amazon and all kinds of just-in-time deliveries. You can even get your entire food via Just Eat delivered to your door without lifting a finger, well, minimally to touch the pad. So with this, you are entering into a project, and usually projects have delays. So what do I mean by that? Expect at least 2 weeks of delivery time to get all of your items. Yes, most vendors promise a shorter delivery time, and I'm also not bad-mouthing that. The only thing is, what very often happens is that one of the items that you desperately want is not in stock, and you have to wait until it is in stock and also put on your pallet to be delivered. So one item not being in stock can then delay the entire delivery until everything has been packed. You can liaise with customer services with most vendors to just get a partial shipment, but partial shipment brings us back to shipping cost. You also don't necessarily want that. So expect 2 to 4 weeks for everything to arrive, rather than a 3-day turnaround or even a 1-day turnaround, because in the end, you're not ordering toilet paper from the shop around the corner. You are ordering specialized equipment that is heavy and has to be specially transported, so therefore it will also take some extra time. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and tell your friends about my channel. Have a very nice day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.